what an amazing time we had with Temidayo Oladehin at the Advancing Audio Masterclass in-person hangout event. The front of house and production lead for Burna Boy answered so many questions from our engineers and took us through his mix of the stems from Burna Boy's new hit single, Update. Sit back, relax, and watch the master at work.
So, if you start wasting time trying to surgically remove it, this is probably what you want to do, but it's almost killing the life out of the cake. So, you move on. Oh, did you see what happened there? You didn't see what happened? My hand moved the low end. Can you see? Yeah, my hand moved the low end all through, so. Why are you misbehaving? Alright, that's my kick in, kick out. Can you see what happened there? When the kick out came in, it kind of canceled the resonance that you're hearing because it's two inputs with the same source. So there's a kind of phase going on in there. So it's taking out that resonance without you having to like start killing the kick. Same thing, I have a trigger there and just basic EQ, nothing crazy, right? I don't compress much on the input channel. I compress on my groups, so both kicks are sent to a kick group. That's the compressor I'm using for it. So you can see that's the gain reduction you're seeing on the kick to give you like a constant level, right? That's the snare. Top and bottom, same thing. So I'm sending that to a reverb. That's dry. Wet. Normally I would have a compression on my snare group, but it was a quick mix. I didn't feel I needed it. I'll usually use the SSL G comp. So let's make it worse. Oh, can you hear the difference? On this particular mix, I don't think I did a parallel compression because I just needed to mix something real quick. My hat is panned to listeners reference. So from my point of view on that, and then same thing with my racks, my toms span to listeners reference. So my toms too are gated through the triggers, right? Gated through the triggers. That's why you can so like that rack one now, if I want to stop the bleed of the snare on it, yeah. So you can hear how silent the toms are when it's not playing because it's something triggering them. The advantage of using triggers is it's closer to the instrument than just normal gates. So like If you have a floor tom now, you have a symbol next to the floor tom. If you hit the symbol, it would open the gate of your floor tom. But if you have a trigger on the tom and you hit the symbol, it won't open it. It would only open when you hit the actual tom itself. So it gives you a gate cleaner thing. Overheads. Yeah, I have so many. Oh, behave yourself. What's that nonsense? I have overheads. Most of my symbols are closed mic. So you have overhead left, overhead right. You have the ride. You have the FX. Those like small stacks of symbols. They're all very closed mic. So you can get them. And then I pan them around where they are in the mix. Right. The PC gong is similar to a tom. You didn't play SPD in this place. Okay, I think you played the SPD in this one. That's the SPD. You can hear that. So if you go back to congas, the same thing on my congas. My congas are they're gated through triggers. I have some very flat triggers on the congas, on the bongos, because most of those guys have a lot of instruments and they have so many mics. So I don't want the conga mic to be picking up the bongo. So I make sure I gate it through the triggers. It means I can push it more in the mix because it's not getting every other thing. So it's very speak. So let me do this. So can you look at the signals on the congas? Can you see that you can't see any signal because the triggers is stopping it from showing anything because it's just playing one conga. That's why you can see the signal on that just one conga because the gates are coming in. So if I do this, if I take out the gates, can you see the signal on the second one? Yeah, that's the advantage of you being able to trigger via gates. I have this thing called the Jack Joseph Prig and use the DI there. Attack is more like almost what you call, I would say like on the bass, like gives you the edge is like high end. So bass mic. So look at my guitar. What plugins on it? You know why? It sounded right to me when I was mixing it. And the guy has his own pedal, so it sounded right. I didn't bother. We didn't use acoustic guitar in this. Look at all my keys. Nothing. Just find them. Live. It was live. I'll probably do a bit of high pass filter so they're not going too much in the sub. But I was mixing this for socials. So right. So can you hear there's a bit of tuning on their vocals, and it's like gives it that gel. So I'll take out the wave strings. Did you hear that? You see the difference? Because they're human. Yeah? So you'd be shocked. You say, those singers are fantastic. Yeah. They are fantastic singers, but they also need help. Right?
Get money, not disability. So forget me, my shy blocking. My loss out. Ready for one cow.
Most of us talking drums, right? For those of us who are not really Nigerians or who have knowledge of how talking drums, the color is taking out the mid range, giving a bit of highs and lows. So it's almost like a tom. You treat it almost like a tom. So there's a bit of talking drum in this. Okay. There's a lead talking drum and there's a backing talking drum. Some people pan their talking drums. I generally don't, but I find space for them in the mix because my toms are already panned and they sound similar to toms, so I can't keep them in the middle so that everybody's not fighting for. And then you have what you call the omele, which is this one. So you can see the panning. Can you hear the two of them? There's one coming now here more. Yeah, so that automatically gives you that kind of feel instead of just putting everything in the middle of your mix. At least I allowed it to play to the end. Yeah. But I didn't show you anything on Burna's vocals because the vocal you're hearing is his track vocal, not a live vocal, because it was rehearsals and it wasn't a rehearsal, so it's the track vocal. So I didn't do anything on it. It's just what was on the actual track that you can hear. Yeah, that's it. Obviously, live I do more. In terms of, okay, if you look at my here, I've got groups. So you see the SSR comp. I didn't use this on this thing on this one. I have my toms. I group them into a group and use CLA drums. And pick the toms CLA drums. Right? It gives it like a tone that's unique. Right? I also use CLA drums on the talking drum. Let me play some of it for you. Listen to this though. You see, yeah, the difference. Yeah, the difference is clear. Now, can I achieve that kind of talking drum tone without CLA drums? Yes. What means I will have to do more work. Yeah. Another thing I did is on the I told you that talking drum is similar to toms. So on the CLA drums, I didn't use the toms preset. I used the kick, so it gives it different tonal. That's why you feel that weight in it. So it makes it sound different. Whatever works for you, you know. If I change it to toms now, you hear the difference. It's fuller, but now what would happen is it will not start competing with other things. It's like this is more distinct, you know. So with the hits, you're getting a more distinct hit. Yeah.
Back to reality, back to life, back to reality,
My love sao, ready for one cow. I back ya cow. My updates go live pow. On it, pow. Take them to your cow. My love pow.
So if you know, also on my guitar group, you know I didn't do anything on my guitars on the actual channel. So just group that. I did group clean. Let me solo that for you so you can hear the difference. It makes it wider. And yeah. And I also use something called S major. Listen very carefully to this. It brings it into the middle of your mix, but makes it wider. Yeah, and you can also tilt it. It's almost like a panning where it's like that. Mono. Very basic, and how many of us know mid side? Mid side, it makes your sides wider, louder. So that single thing I pressed, see how it makes it louder, because now it's reduced the mid and giving you more volume on the sides, yeah? And obviously because I still have a tilt here. Let's see. Let's say it works in the mix, yeah? If you change to mid side and using just left and right stereo imaging. Put them on your face on one side. Another something I can use like that is called center. So let's do this. So you see this? It's also like a mid-side thing. It's reduced the guitar in the middle and giving more presence to the sides. These things are kind of nice when you have a lot of stereo instruments. So you can use it to get on the sides and get more mix in your middle for your vocals and stuff. And what you can also do sometimes, I want to make the low end on the sides, right? More. I've reduced the low end more to the center and giving high ends out there. Yeah, or you can do it the other way, because I don't want too much high end out there because maybe it's clashing with my cymbals. So I bring the high ends more in, and because my cymbals are already out there, you know. So there's so much you can do with these things that probably some of your basic mixers will not give you, right? And one of the things I say is a lot of the plugins we use is more color than anything else. So look at the CLA drums on the talking drum. Just put it on a pom, and it changes it, gives it a different kind of color. So sometimes that's what you need. You just put it in, and then you begin to get your signature sound. That's what people sign you up for, you know. So Jane likes how a microphone sounds in service on Sunday, and somebody else comes the following Sunday and she doesn't like it. The same guy comes the upper Sunday and then she likes it. She will always want that particular person that she likes her vocal around rather than the other person. Doesn't mean the other person doesn't know what they're doing, but wherever the way they do that doesn't suit what she wants, you know. So find your own niche and enjoy it. Thank you for coming to my masterclass. Question? How do I sort out my latency issues? How do you mean sort latency issues? How to remove them? I don't remove. I can't remove latency. Latency is there. So, let me see if I can show you something real quick. Okay, this is Kingdom. This is my session for the Kingdom World Tour in Europe, right? So if you look at this, can you see my mouse? Can you see that NA? If you look at the color there, that's yellow, right? But the color here is what? Right. The reason why it's saying not available is because it sounds good. It's not. I'm not actually. Because sound grid is not connected, so you can't see any latency. But what's happening here is the latency here is on latency group 1, right? All my input channels are on the same latency. So what it does is it takes the channel strip with the highest latency and makes every other person the same latency. So they arrive at the same time, right? So when you now bust into a group, I make all those groups the same latency. So if you go to here, page 4, you see it's a different color, like orange, on these groups all the way to drums. So all up to LVFX. So if I touch on that, you see latency group 2. Can you see it? So that means all my groups arrive into the following groups, which is now this that you have here. This 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's latency group 3. Because all my drums go into a drum group, and then kick, snare, and toms go into a parallel group for parallel compression. All other things go into the accompaniments. And then the last one is the LV vocal. Now all these 4 now go into another 2 groups, which is the band and LV group, which is another latency group. Yep. And then you have master, which is latency group 5. So all of them, if you work together, you arrive at the same time. When you become a smaller group, you work together, you arrive at the same time. So that I'm not having like phase issues in the mix. Yeah. That's what I don't want to do on Super Rock. Okay. Happy? Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me. Please, what does Kabiru Kenya mean? Welcome to Kenya? Huh? Karibu Kenya. Yeah, okay, because I just saw a lot of people saying the Karibu Kenya, Karibu Kenya. Okay. So what would I say if I'm leaving? Goodbye. What's goodbye? Kwateri. Kwarehiri.